For those who have just joined us, as we're waiting just a couple more minutes for people to join on, I will show you the pages like I do every time, as we're show you the pages that we're going to get into for the rest of the lesson, I should say. Again, I want to say my name is Austin Blanchard, and obviously I work with the Natoma School of Music. And, we're just doing these free intro lessons to get at people engaged in their community again and see if we can get people out and interested in music lessons. I want to say all the teachers, just like myself, are very charismatic and knowledgeable in the craft of music. So if somehow you like what I'm doing and somehow my slot doesn't work for you, my time slots, we have a bunch of really good musicians that work here as well that can help you out and get you into things just as easily as I can. All right, so that said, I will show you the pages that we'll need to get into today. So first, we're just going to go briefly over the parts again with this page. And then we are going to next get into playing through the songs. We Will Rock You, Bingo, and then the Alphabet Song and Seven Nation Army. We went through all these songs last week, but I will be going through them again and telling you the appropriate technique to play and just revising or doing, I should say, a refresher course on what we've got going on theory-wise or just sheet music-wise, I should say, from our beginning lesson. I think the last thing I'm going to touch up with will be the musical alphabet. We'll probably talk a little bit about pitch and just how the musical alphabet works with our fretboard. All right. So, again, we're just going to go over the body parts of the guitar. And I'm actually going to show you them really quickly again on my guitar so we can just get a physical view of it, and then maybe I'll just kind of point to it on the page so you can know where everything is again. But we have what would be the body, and then I'm just going to go like this. We have our body, and then on top of our body is our neck, and then our headstock like that. And let me go like this. I think this will work a little bit better. Our body, our neck, and then our headstock, just like that. And our body, our neck, and our head, right? So it's basically labeled the exact same way, except for we don't have any appendages. We don't have any arms or legs on the guitar, right? So the next components that we need to have memorized will be the nut. We'll talk about hitting the strings open, and that uses the nut to do so, right? And that's not fretting a note when you play. And these, obviously, since I've just said that, are going to be the frets, remember? And the frets are what is called our fretboard, which is the piece of wood that the frets are on, that is on top of the neck. It's still all part of the neck. It's all, components compounded to make the neck. But those are the main parts we're going to get into. But I will say I need to add the strings and the fret markers. Now remember, the fret markers are going to be kind of like your cheater dots. They're going to be on the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th frets, as well as the 12th. And that pattern copies on the 12th fret on, but we're not going to get into that today. This is just a beginner lesson. And so try to utilize these to help you figure out where you are, because they're basically all the odd numbers, right? Or all the odd frets, except for the first. Most guitars don't have a fret marker on the first. I do want to note that if you have a classical guitar, the fret markers will only be on the top likely, and the only two you will likely have is actually going to be the 5 and the 7. Not even likely, you're not even likely going to have them on the 12th fret, because the 12th fret on a classical guitar is just seen as it meets the body. So the fret should be like laying right against the body like that. So again, those are the main components that I wanted to get into today. So realistically, you can see these on your page from the head, the nut, the fretboard. See how it's a little bit different from the neck, and then, well, it's part of the neck, just on top of it, I should say. Then we have the neck, then we have the body. Oh, that's right, the body's not on there, so I usually just circle that right there to put the body. But those are how you'd find those components on there. We are going to next get into We Will Rock You. So if you have that page, try to have that out in front of you. We'll get into it. You're going to play through it a couple times. I'm going to allot 30 seconds for you to play through it. I do want to go through the process of what it is to play tablature and use perfect technique one more time. So that's what I'll be doing right now. Let's see. Stop the share. There we go. All right, so remember, when you're playing a note, you're basically just counting whatever string it's on. Where our songs are just going to be one string songs, so you just have to figure out what string you're playing it on. Hopefully you've been practicing all of these songs on every string. But you're going to find the string, and then you're going to count the frets to figure out what fret number you're going to go on. Now remember, this is the order of our fret numbers that makes it so if we play these notes in order, we definitely sound like We Will Rock You, the song We Will Rock You, right? So that said, you're just finding the string that you want to play on, 8, 7, 5, 3, 5, 5, and you play those notes in order, right? But for you to be able to do that, you have to know how to play a perfect note. Now remember, when we're playing our perfect notes, we are playing right behind the fret, right? This is fret 1, I'm playing right behind that. That's fret 2, I'm playing right behind it. And I am pinching the note, right? See how I'm pinching it? I'm not doing something like that with my thumb. I'm not going super overboard with my thumb like this. I'm going basically right where the fingertips would be on the fretboard. And when you're doing that, you'll usually have a flat thumb against the fretboard, or the neck, I should say. And it's not over the neck or the fretboard, wherever you want to visualize, but it's right around there, kind of where the curve is, so you get a little bit of grip right there. And then you're trying to be as flat as possible with that, and you're trying to have then a gap between your hand and the guitar right there. And you're trying to then bend your fingers to get on the utmost tip of your finger, because that's the hardest part of your finger, right? The pad of your finger is super soft right here, but then you get to this tip, and then all of a sudden you got a whole different game plan going for you, whole different game. So again, you're just going to find the string and pluck, or pick in this case, that string, right? And if you're picking, you should be using your thumb across the tip of the pick like that, and then your index finger across like that. And you're basically having the end knuckle to the end of the finger right there, and then the knuckle to the end of your finger right there. Try to give you guys good visualization. Now, if you are using a classical guitar, you are going to use kind of like an anchor system like this, if you feel so inclined, and then kind of dig into the strings like this, plucking using your thumb, right? Eventually you can get into different fingers. Some of you might be going, hey, I don't know why I've seen this a whole bunch, what's going on with that? That's a totally different technique. So just know you're using your thumb right off the bat. And the reason I'm saying, if you feel so inclined to use an anchor system, do this, is I do not want you guys to hold your guitar at all. Holding your guitar allows you no movement with your hand, right? The dexterity of your hand goes right out the door when you hold your guitar. All right, so you don't have to. You can definitely pluck just like that, you know what I mean? And not have to have any anchor system. But that's the gist of it right there. So let's go on to playing our song. So We Will Rock You, again, will be 8, 7, 5, 3, 5, 5. Don't worry about the finger numbers. Actually, I'll probably talk about that here in a second, but don't worry about that for right now. But the fret numbers will be 8, 7, 5, 3, 5, 5. Again, just to show you. And then I'll play right now. All right, so this will be something like 8, 7, 5, 3, 5, 5. I'll try it on the second string. We will rock you. Right? Same song, just sounds a little bit different. That's why I say practice it on every string. And all these songs are one string songs. So realistically, I don't even put a time limit to your guys' practice in the beginning. I say just play each song twice on every string. And try to make sure you go through any page that your teacher gives you to have a refresher course on whatever vocabulary you've been using in class. So again, I'm pinching right at the tip of my finger, right behind the frets when I play that. Now, I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds to go ahead and give that a try, and I'm going to screen share that for you guys. All right, go for it. Right? Now, since probably a decent amount of time for you to at least play on a couple of different strings at that point, I'm going to go on to tell you what the finger numbers mean. And actually, this is a pretty easygoing component. So when we're playing, our left hand is numbered. Our fretting hand, right, is numbered. If you're left-handed, it's going to be opposite for you. Kind of pandering to the main audience right now, but so basically the way it's going to work is you're usually trying to keep like one finger per fret, like spatially with your hands, and the way we kind of organize that is by numbering our fingers, and it's pretty easy. If you hold up a 1 with your left hand, that's your first finger right there. If you hold up a 2 with your left hand, that's your second finger right there. Hold up a 3, that's your third finger, and a hold up a 4, that's your fourth finger. Now, like I said, this is used to make the space of your hand to your convenience, right? So if I use, actually, let's get one more. Showing that. So if you see, it has the 2 second finger used with the 8, and right next to it would be the 7th fret, so that we use the first finger. And went down to with our first finger, next couple of notes, because you can just kind of walk down that way, make it pretty easy. And then our third finger will just so happen to be right at that 5th fret. So to show you, that'll be something like this. 8, 7, 5, 3, 5, 5, something just like that. Try it on a different string. 8, 7, 5, 3, 5, 5, just like that. Using my different fingers to my advantage. All right, now I'll give you guys about 20 seconds. Try that out on your own really quick. Go ahead, give that a try. All right, so now our next song will be Bingo. And remember the top bingos right here, and then all this right here, those are the lyrics to the song. So I'm kind of giving you different visualizations, like what you would see finger number wise with a song, and then how you would see a song with the lyrics with it, and what would be called the melody, right? The linear pattern of notes, right? One note after another is right there with it, right? To tell you how to sing that song. So basically, the way this is going to work is we're just going to read the numbers again, right? And go left to right, and then move our way down. So again, this 0 is going to be an open note when you play it, right? No fretted fingers, just hitting the string by itself. All right. And realistically, with all this stuff, I've shown you how to. I've told you to really get a perfect practice. You want to you want to make sure you're playing on every string, right? Multiple times. Well, when you're getting used to everything in the beginning, you might as well start using all your different fingers through your practices as well. Even if you're not using different fingers all for one song, use just one different finger for, or I should say, even if you're not playing a different finger for each note per se in succession, it doesn't mean you can't play a different finger for the whole song. And let me show you what I mean by that. So you could play bingo with your second finger. B-I-N-G-O, 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 and bingo was his name. Oh. See, and I just played it with my second finger. So for those of you who feel like you're just pushing it and just destroying the guitar already right off the bat, and you just feel like you have an innate ability, try these different fingers. Try the different strings, different fingers. You will get so much better, so much faster. And I'm all about that 100% practice. So just try it right off the bat. See if you can get a really good habit going. So again, I will show you how to play bingo. I will play it on third string this time. And how about I'll play with my third finger. So again, we're going to start off with the 7 and go up to the 8 and then move our way down. So 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, 5, 5, 7, 7, 7, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5, 2, 2, 0, 2, 3, 3, something like that. All right, now I will share the song for you guys and allot you guys 30 seconds to try to play through this song. All right, go ahead, give it a try. All right, guys. Next, we will be going to the alphabet song. And the alphabet song is just like bingo, but without the lyrics. I've kind of created what are called measures in this one, just little sections of notes so you can see it a little bit easier. And just like bingo, it goes left to right. Left to right and down, I should say. Just like that. Realistically, try different fingers on this one too, as much as possible. Try different strings. It's all one string songs. I just try to get that ingrained in your head. I think the last thing I want to get, or the next thing I want to get ingrained in your head as well, again, is you should be using the tips of your fingers to play these notes, right? Right behind the frets. You're right behind the fret on the tip of your finger with your thumb flat and your finger bent. If you're not getting a weird note and it's making kind of like this blah, blah sound, then you should definitely be looking at this to see if you're perfecting this in the right way. Also, make sure you're pressing down hard enough. You want to make sure you're pressing down a good amount on the left hand. And then, honestly, if you feel like you're still not getting a good strong note, make sure you're plucking super hard too. And you should get a lot clearer of a note. That said, we will move on to playing the alphabet song. So we're going to start with our open notes, which are just zeros, right? And again, an open note is just not fretting a finger, right? Playing a string by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you. So I'm going to play this on the first string this time. So we're going to go 0, 0, 7, 7, 9, 9, 7, 5, 5, 4, 4, 2, 2, 0, 7, 7, 5, 4, 4, 2, 7, 7, 5, 4, 4, 2, 0, 0, 7, 7, 9, 9, 7, 5, 5, 4, 4, 2, 2, 0. And there's the alphabet song for you. Now, I want to, as I'm screen sharing that for you guys to try it by yourself again, I wanted to tell you, or remind you, I should say, that we held this 7 right there because there was a placeholder, right? An underscore telling you that there's no note here, but you would hold that note for that length, basically, because there's no note after it. Just in this case, I know this is a very obsolete version of sheet music, so there's kind of like a lot of wondering or quandaries that go with this, but this is just what's going on. I'm telling you straight up, it's black and white. That's what's going on. You just hold this note for twice as long as all these other notes. And you'll see that happen because it's notes like that are peppered throughout the whole song. Permeated, if you will. All right, so I'm gonna allot 30 seconds for you guys to go ahead and give that a try. Go ahead. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm gonna allot you guys a minute for this one. Go for it. All right, guys. This next one is going to sound most like it if it's played on the 5th string, like it says right here. It's called Seven Nation Army. It used to be on the radio like a million times every day. I'm feeling like it's more obscure, not as well known nowadays, but a lot of people know what it sounds like. So like the other songs, I try to make sure you guys have heard these songs before as much as possible so you guys can know when you messed up, right? You know when you've hit that wrong note. A cool thing about the alphabet song, though, I do want to add, is it's the same thing as Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And some of you guys might have been getting stuck on that as I was playing it. But that's what it is. You kind of get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that one. Whatever song you feel like playing for people, you just say that title. So, Seven Nation Army is by the White Stripes. And that'll sound, like I said, most like the song on the 5th string. And that'll go something like this. Since that might be kind of hard for a lot of people, I just want you to remember, definitely start off with the 1st string and work your way up if that's the case. So, you could literally do that same song, it just sounds a little bit different on a different string, right? Still pretty cool to me. It's all about playing it with the right rhythm, the right length of notes, right? The right feeling. And a lot of people in the beginning, they try to rush through songs, but if you try to take it a little bit slower and try to perfect how it sounds and make it sound like a song, you'll do really good. And that's why I try to make it so you guys know the songs in the beginning. So again, this is Seven Nation Army on the 5th string is what it sounds the most like. The way it'll work is 7, 7, 10, 7, 5, 3, 2. See how you're holding those 3, that 3 and that 2 for a little bit longer, right? That's because that placeholder right there. And I will say, honestly, I elongated it right here a little bit. I didn't add too much, but just to tell you, this note's a little bit longer than these other notes. And if you keep that in your brain, it should sound pretty much like the song as you're going through it. Again, I'm going to allot 30 seconds for you guys to go ahead and try that on your own. Make sure you're playing on the tips of your fingers and your fingers are well bent. And you're not holding your guitar if you're plucking with your hand instead of using a pick. Go ahead. Give it a try, guys. All right, so the next thing we are going to get to, and hopefully you have this page to be able to put out in front of you, will be the alphabet, the musical alphabet. So before we get into this, we're going to talk a little bit about what pitch is. Now, pitch is how high or how low a note is, but it doesn't have anything to do with volume, right? Because you can have a really loud low note, really quiet high note, right? Something like that. So it has nothing to do with volume, but it's just the character of the note and really that goes with how big the waves are, the sound waves that it makes, this, that, and other thing. The bigger waves makes lower notes, the smaller, faster waves make high pitch notes. Kind of like how your strings, the tight ones, the smaller ones, don't have to make as much of a vibration to get a good note coming out, or I don't know, you don't have to hit the string as much. You can just hit a little bit and then you get a good quick little vibration, gets you a high pitched note. That's basically what's going on there. So that's just a brief explanation of pitch, because as we get into the musical alphabet, you kind of want to know the concept of how this works with pitch, in accordance with pitch, because eventually you're going to have to tune, you're going to have to figure out where notes are, this, that, and another thing. Really everything else is this is the basis for everything. So definitely, like I said, make sure you are reading through this page every day too. A lot of people skip past this. Well, no, you definitely want to make sure you're reading this every week and getting this ingrained in your head. If you were my student physically, I'd be making you do this every week when you came in for 5 minutes telling me everything about this, and we would grow with this. So this is a huge thing, a cornerstone to all of music. Make sure you're practicing it, all right? So as you're going up in the alphabet, first I should say we have 7 letters and 12 notes in our musical alphabet. So we have 7 letters, A through G, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have variations of these notes. And every note will have a variation other than a couple of them, B and E for right now. Basically, there's no note between B and C and no note between E and F. And that's what's going on there for right now. And so as we're going up in the musical alphabet, we're going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher in pitch. As we go backwards, whatever I did there. As we go backwards, we go to a lower pitch note, as it says right here. And it actually kind of gives you a visual, like what you would be doing with your tuning, if for those of you who have been trying to, branch off and kind of figure out on your own. So the variations of these notes will be called sharps and flats. Now, we use these different variations of these notes to have a bigger palette, basically, right? And with that, we use these kind of different spellings to accommodate different patterns we need in scales. And that's basically what I'm going to leave it up to for right now, before I get too nerdy on the whole thing. But we have, like I said, would be a sharp version of a note, which would be a higher pitch version of a note, which comes after the note, right? Because as you go up the musical alphabet, it's a higher note, right? It is, right? It goes higher and higher in pitch. And then we have what are called flat notes, right? And those are lower pitched versions of notes, which come before the note. And think about it, that's a lower pitch than that, right? Because as you go forward and up in the musical alphabet, you go higher in pitch. So that's just what's going on there. Now, the reason I was saying that we use basically different scales or different collections of these notes or spellings of these notes in accordance with different patterns is because A sharp and B flat, those are the same notes. That's what would be called an enharmonic note, one note with multiple names. Honestly, every note is an enharmonic note, but this is just the visualization I wanted to give you. And you'll notice they go right there, corresponding with the same note right under it, right? They're right there with each other. G sharp's the same thing as A flat. That said, I'm not even worried about, I wouldn't, if I were you, even be worried about the flats for right now, because your tuner is not likely going to be using flats whatsoever. It's going to be using sharps. And so that's why I tell people to memorize the sharps right off the bat. That said, I would go to this page every day and to get 100% practice, definitely read through all of this and then say the musical alphabet, even if it has to be to a parent or if you're an older person, find a friend and then just spout it off. Be like, hey, this is the musical alphabet. I know it feels a little weird, but hey, maybe prompt them a little bit and you'll be able to get through it pretty easily. So just like this, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And then backwards, A, G sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, D sharp, D, C sharp, C, B, A sharp, A. And I had two A's in there just to give you a starting and an ending destination. That's what we call a root note. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's basically what it is. Other than just naming the scale, it just tells you where to start from and then when to end. So how does this work with our guitar? Now, you've seen how as we go through the musical alphabet, you go up in pitch. And how we go up in the numbers of our frets, we go up in pitch. So I'm about to show you how this works on our guitar, like so. So this, say we do it linearly. We start from A. It would work this way. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And then it would just keep going because the musical alphabet is cyclical. It just keeps cycling through, right? A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and F. So it just keeps going, so on and so forth. So depending on how many frets, I think we'll have like, 20 frets on this. So that's just how it happens to be. That's the other thing I wanted to show you. So basically, say we didn't do it linear. You could do it like this too. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and so on and so forth like that. And that's, I just wanted to show you, I basically told you in the beginning that we go from low to high pitches this way and from low to high pitches this way, right? And that's what I'm just trying to show you right now. I think that basically wraps up my lesson for today. Like I said at the beginning of our set of lessons, that we will have a Q&A after every lesson, question and answering. So basically, if you have any questions about any of that stuff, or you want to show me something, or just have any insight you want to tell or ask about, definitely feel free right now to ask. I have my little chat bar open, ready for you guys to ask me questions. You should be practicing every day if possible. Don't feel bad if you're not able to get to it every day, but make sure you are grinding as much as you can during the week, because the more you get into it, the easier it is right off the bat. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But also don't put a time limit to your practices. Make sure that you're just playing through, having fun. That's really what this is for, right? Is having fun. Eventually you can make it a career, but just have fun in the beginning and try to push what you can do finger-wise and string-wise with your playing. Make sure you're playing every string if possible. Use every finger if possible, playing through the strings. I mean, if you were really doing a perfect practice, you would play through every string at the very least with using one finger each time. Right? 4 times through each string, just using a different finger each time. That's how I would do a very perfect practice at this kind of beginning stage of where you're at right now. I mean, play We Will Rock You with multiple fingers if possible, but just try playing the whole song with one finger. I think that's a little bit easier for a lot of you people beginning off and trying to get, you know, your fingers grounded, let's say it like that. I'm not seeing any questions. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and thanks for letting me entertain you guys for a little while. See you guys.